The time is now 7 o'clock. I'll call to order the regular meeting of the Lansing City Council for July 14th, 2025. Clerk Swope, could you please read the roll?
Certainly. Councilmember Brown.
Present.
Councilmember Carter.
Here.
Councilmember Garza.
Here.
Councilmember Hussein.
Here.
Councilmember Jackson.
Present.
Councilmember Cost.
Here.
Councilmember Pellevanoglu. And Councilmember Spatafor.
Present.
You have 8 members present, a quorum, and we are to the meditation and pledge of allegiance.
Is there anyone you would like to remember tonight before we do the meditation pledge of allegiance? Councilmember Jackson.
Thank you. The life of Miss Janet James. She is a longtime Lansing resident. She passed away after battling an illness. She wasn't on any boards or commissions, but she did raise 3 boys that became men and had their own families. So 3 great people, and their kids are great people. And I think that would be any board or commission. She has a good reputation, and she's a great woman, and she'll be missed by her family and everybody that knew her.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Can we please rise? Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You have for your approval the council proceedings of June 23rd.
Vice President Carter.
I make a motion to approve the June 23rd minutes as presented.
Proper motion in place. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Passes unanimously.
And we are to special ceremonies and presentations. We have a presentation on Brownfield Plan number 80.
Okay, Councilmember Garza.
All right, thank you, Council President. So this is Brownfield number 80, Amendment number 1, Pleasant Grove and Homes Mixed-Use Redevelopment Project at 2130 West Holmes Road. Do we have Mr. Brent Forsberg and team? And team, come on down, please. See Chris Klein from LEDC. You guys just make sure your green light's on when you sit down, and the floor is yours.
Good evening, Council. My name is Chris Klein. I'm President and CEO of the Lansing Economic Development
Can
Corporation.
you turn your green light on?
Sorry, it is. I just need to bring it closer. Is that
Perfect.
better? All right. So I'm Chris Klein. I'm the Lansing EDC. This evening, have Brent Forsberg here to discuss the project at Pleasant Grove and Homes. This is a Brownfield Plan amendment. So a few years ago, the project was brought before you, but it's been brought back up, reinvigorated, and excited to talk on it. Brent's going to provide some background, and then I'll be able to finish up with the Brownfield Plan specifics.
Well, thank you, Council, for giving us the opportunity to come in here and talk about this. This project's been a long time in the making for the city. I'm excited to be a part of it. I brought Chris Miller with me, who's going to talk about the community capital aspect of the project. So I get to do the fun part and go through kind of some of the history of the project and talk about where it's going, and then turn it back over to Chris to go over the nuts and bolts of the Brownfield. Is this better? Oh, sorry, there we go.
It's on. There it is.
Sorry about that. So yeah, I'm excited to kind of paint the picture of the project, and we'll turn it back over to Chris to talk about the nuts and bolts of the Brownfield. So this project is at the corner of Holmes and Pleasant Grove at the old school site. And what we're presenting tonight is the first phase of what we're hoping will be an expanded scope project over the next few years. It is going to be a 30-unit residential building that has components for missing middle housing, and then also will have about approximately 5,800 square feet of commercial. But this really is more than just the building. And this project is part of telling the story of Southwest Lansing and building infrastructure back in that, in an area of the city that was built for long roads. You know, this is 1950s development that has a lot of the strip malls back off the corridor. So it really didn't have that neighborhood center. So this is about helping to put back and building on the work of Southwest Lansing to really start restoring a neighborhood center in the community. And as we go through, we're going to talk about some of the aspects of why this project is unique. And to borrow a term from the Invest Health team, which has been working on helping with the placemaking and the health of the community, that it's about what grows here stays here. And it's building this local economy back into Southwest Lansing. This is a continuation of the past 10 years of work. As I discussed just a minute ago, that we're looking at an area of the city that was really built almost like a suburb. It doesn't have those connections in those neighborhood nodes. And as we're going through this, this is the start of putting that back in. If we look at the pictures, you know, there's that 1950s design in the top picture, and the work that's already started with the town square, with the improvement of Beacon Park, and the facades being done on the business and the businesses receiving support with the Southwest Lansing plan over the last 10 years, that what we're doing is providing a place to tell that story, a spot where people can come together, looking at Malcolm X's legacy on the site from his younger years being in school there, and looking at the values of Southwest Lansing that have been in place for building that connection and giving people a place to have a voice. With the site, oh, it should be. There we go. So this site has been designed with intention at every level. And from looking at the space along the corner of Holmes and Pleasant Grove, we have a large plaza going in that will be part of building the connections and allow for the community to come up with ideas for how that can be used. And that will be tying into the next phases that we'll be bringing in after this phase is successful. And the stormwater management, we understand that this area was designed in the 1950s, and there isn't a lot of treatment that's gone through as this water approaches the Grand River. So we're going to be having an education piece and showcasing what new design can look like to help put stronger measures in place to protect our water. You know, we're the first drop of water that enters the Great Lakes Basin here in the Middle Grand River watershed, so it's an important piece of it. And within that, being able to allow the community to tell the story of what the community is. And we'll be working with artists to come up with ideas of how do we tell that story and share the values of Southwest Lansing. One of the most important pieces of this is how do we get people to invest in the communities where they live? This is something that, as we've seen over the years, our banking industry, we've lost a lot of our smaller banks. And we're lucky that we have a few in town. LAFQ is one of them that's put a lot of support into this project and is helping with bringing in their foundation to teach wealth empowerment. But as part of that too, we're lucky to partner with the National Coalition for Community Capital, where people that live in the community and people of Lansing will be able to invest as we scope this up over the next few weeks. And I'm going to let Chris take it over for a minute to kind of talk about what community capital is, and then we'll go through a little bit more on the story of the project.
Thanks, Brent. Thank you, council members. Appreciate the opportunity to chat with you a little bit today. So NC3 is about empowering regular folks to invest. As you who are required to use intermediaries should we want to invest, even in our own communities. Fortunately, that began to change in 2012 with the passage of the Jobs Act on a federal level, which allowed investment crowdfunding, which really empowered regular investors to make modest investments in projects they were interested in, including those in their own community. In 2013, in Michigan, we passed a law called MILE, which created a state-based exemption for that and actually became a national model because it took the SEC 4 years to write the rules around investment crowdfunding. But since we've had investment crowdfunding on a national level, we've seen close to $3 billion invested by about 2 million regular folks, non-accredited investors who are making decisions about how to do this. And so our organization came together in 2016 because we were all advocating for this. A bunch of folks from across the country in different sectors, in different geographies, all passionate around community. And we wanted to see how we could leverage this community investment to bring power back to communities, to bring investment back to communities, to begin to recirculate capital and build wealth and resilience in communities. And so one of the things that we've done in the process is to create a community investment fund structure. So there's lots of one-off projects. There's actually a great project up in Traverse City called Common Grounds, was written up in the New York Times. That project started with the regular folks in Traverse City, the year-round folks, not just the summer folks, making an investment in a project that ultimately ran to about $18 million, mixed-use, mixed-income project in Traverse City, new construction. Was written up in the New York Times a couple of times. So we know that can happen on a one-off basis. What we're really interested in doing, though, is building a fund that we can do multiple projects. So we do a project, people invest in that fund, and that fund reinvests 100% of the capital back into the local community. So as Brent alluded to, that community banking that has historically done that, although not always well, right? We all know about redlining done by banks according to rules. But we want to do that and better, and that's really what these community investment funds are designed to do. So we started working on these in 2022. We had 4 pilot communities. Those communities are all moving forward on this, and we're super excited to be working in Lansing. I'm a Michigan guy, so I grew up here in Michigan, live down in Adrian right now, and I love that my state is leading the way on a lot of these really important measures. And we're really excited to be working with Brent. As a developer, developers are really great at working with a lot of sources of capital. And one of the things that we love about this community capital, and this is, again, everyone in the community having an opportunity to invest as little as $50 in the project. But we want to do that. We want those small investors to be involved in it. And Brent is going to figure out how to weave all this capital together in a way that makes it work. And the beauty of this community capital is not only does it engage the local community and endorse the project in a powerful way, that capital actually de-risks it for other traditional sources of capital. And it's going to be the most flexible in the capital stack except for Brent's own money. So, or maybe more flexible than Brent's own money. I haven't spoken to his wife about it. So. So we're really excited to be here. Thank you for the opportunity. We really want to call out the land bank and the county treasurer. They've just been fantastic in this place, really important. And obviously the work that the city does at this point in time, incredibly important as well. I'm happy to hang around and talk about this afterwards if anybody's interested in doing it. In fact, more than happy. It's pretty obnoxious, actually. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris. What's important, too, is understanding what the values of community capital is. We're setting it within the values of Southwest Lansing, too. So it started with looking at the Southwest Action Plan, and this has been meetings with SWAG over the years to understand kind of what are the community needs and what are the values, which we have on the slide, but you're looking at the ideas of equitable development, community-centered growth, economic empowerment, that we're really making sure that these are the values that this project will embody. And with the Invest Health team in Lansing, understanding that there's areas of opportunity, too, that align within those values. And those are things that we'll be working on as we continue our community engagement over the next year as the project's getting built, but then also the continuing of the project as it engages with the community moving forward. And as Chris said, with the land bank and the county treasurer, it's been great working with them, and they've been wonderful partners as we work through some of these ideas and understand what this is. And also with other programs like the Pathway to Construction, which is a pilot we did with the land bank on the Patton Gillall Electric home, where we brought in 2 returning citizens and other folks that got exposed to the construction trade. And this really does take a village, and that's what this project is about, is people coming together to create something more than what it could be on its own. And we have a lot of partners that are involved right now that are working on it with our team, like Triterra and Copper Rock and Netterville and Colliers that are doing the work. And then we have Lyuna, who's helped us with the Pathway to Construction program. We're looking to expand that as part of this to expose more people to the trades and create more opportunity in pathways. And NC3 and then the Stable Communities Foundation with LAFCU coming in and being a huge piece of how we are going to tell the story and how we're going to live these values within the community. This project is important because it's bringing all of this together, right? This is years of community work that we're able to help move forward and help also expand what the plan of Southwest Lansing is going to be from 2026 to 2036. So that's going to be working through as part of this to help tell that story as well and bring more community members together to see what is the next stage for Southwest Lansing to build on all of the great work that's been done and continue to address the challenges that our cities face, especially here in the Midwest. So as we keep moving forward with the project and are working to build this out, we have a website that we've launched called the Lansing Growth Fund. So we would love for everybody here to come take a look at it. It's in its beta state right now, but it's online and people can go in and look and join the mailing list. So that's going to be our primary form of communication to the city and to the state of where the project's going. So we encourage everybody to go look at that. And our web address is up there as well as our email address for the project that the team will be looking at. So we would love for the community to keep engaging with us. And over the next couple months, as we're going through the approval process here with council, we'll be also back out in the community and getting feedback for what's the type of programming and what are the activities that people want to see on the site as we're moving forward. So thank you for your time and listening on to the background, and I'll turn it back over to Chris to go through the nuts and bolts of the brownfield.
All right, thank you. I'm not sure if all of my brownfield slides up, but I'll just be really brief. So this is another housing TIF request. So rather new. I think this is the second one for this body, but we're really excited to be able to deploy this, especially here for all the reasons that Brent provided, but even me personally, working, starting with Southwest Lansing, 10 or so years ago with the action plan. So being able to see it continue to be implemented and then even renewed, and revisiting that plan, preparing it for the next 10 years is extremely encouraging and exciting. Also being a resident of the nearby area. So great growth there, and like I said, really happy to be able to deploy this tool in helping the project move forward. So Brent provided an overview of the development, so let's go to the brownfield request itself. So this would be a state and local brownfield plan. The request is for 30 years, so none of that has changed since the previous request. What we're expecting to be generated in new taxes over those 30 years is about $5.6 million, and that'll also create new taxes to tax units through pass-through as well as non-capturable in about $1 million. The total eligible activity costs included within the brownfield plan would be about $3.8 million. So the commitments for this project, although there's the 30 units, and they'll all naturally fit within the 80 to 120, which is a requirement of the housing TIF. 6 units is what the commitment is, but again, all of those will fit within that range. The total property and the total investment would be about $6.5 million, with construction start hopefully towards the end of this year, and then looking at spring of 2027 for completion. So of the total capture within the brownfield plan, about 3.8 will be to support the eligible activities in I'll say developer, but it's really developers with all the different investors and supporting the community investment. There'll also be that pass-through of about $1 million, and then brownfield plan administration and revolving fund support, which is about $300,000 over the life of that. And then, as Brent had mentioned, this is currently a land bank property. And so as part of that, there'll be it's called a 550, so 50% of the taxes for 5 years. So there'll also be some support there. I know it's not enough for the land bank to recoup all of their costs if they held the property over the years, but helps them continue their mission. And then there's the state revolving fund, which is about $170,000. So that's just a quick overview of the brownfield plan, but of course happy to answer any further questions.
Do we have any questions? Seeing no takers, we are going to thank you all for being here tonight.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Okay, we are to comments by council members and the city clerk.
Councilmember comments. Councilmember Jackson, last. Okay. Vice President Carter.
I just want to say a reminder for the at-large constituent meeting that is going to be on July 26th from 10 to noon at the Rio Depot at 1201 South Washington Avenue, where the theme is public safety. We'll have guest speakers with Lansing Empowerment Network, Lansing Police Department, and Lansing Fire Department. So hope to see you all there. And then just wanted to comment on the 6th annual One Faith community event that was just this past Saturday. The theme was Saving a Generation, Mentoring Our Youth. I thought it was an amazing turnout. I know there were some that were present, and so I just kudos to Walk in Truth Ministries and Pastor Tracy Edmonds for a wonderful turnout and tons of free resources for our youth. So kudos.
Thank you. Do you have any other? Councilmember Hussein.
Yeah, I want to thank folks that came out to the mayor's ribbon cutting of the Fit Pad at Ben Davis this past week. If folks have not driven by Benjamin Davis Park on the south side, please do. Better yet, maybe park your car, get out and access the new fitness pad, which is just an incredible. This is actually our 4th Fit Pad in the city of Lansing and our 3rd that we've actually partnered with Priority Health and the National Fitness Campaign on. And really what there's been a lot of commentary. People are excited about this particular project. But I think for some, they don't truly understand the importance of an investment like this. When we started seeing some of these fitness pads deployed throughout the city of Lansing, I actually went to the mayor and the parks director and I said, look, these are incredible. I said, but when we talk about accessibility, visibility, and need, there are, I think, other maybe higher and better areas in terms of at least that latter part, right, that need piece. And so we started talking about Ben Davis and the accessibility and the visibility. And I said this at the ribbon cutting, but I'm going to say it again. One of the things that was most impressed upon me at the time is that the mayor, our parks director, and our parks board, they didn't flinch. Said, absolutely, let's make it happen. You're absolutely right. And so there was a lot of coordination, a lot of partnership to make that happen. When you look at an area like ours, where you have that dearth of fitness facilities, you have this critically low number of gym memberships and things of that nature, but we also know how critically important healthy lifestyles are. When we talk about lifetime outcomes in terms of whether that be educational attainment, whether that be employment attainment, et cetera, it's critical, right, that we're providing these recreational and fitness opportunities in places where people don't maybe naturally have the ability to access. So again, thank you to everybody that was involved in that. It's incredibly exciting. I also said at the ribbon cutting, if you pair that with the South Lansing extension, you pair that with the $1 million that the Lansing School District, along with the state of Michigan, put into the track at Lansing Tech. You pair that with some of the playing field upgrades and things of that nature, you're really creating a kind of area hub of sorts where people have to run away from the opportunities to engage in recreational and fitness activities, which is far from what we had in that area about 10 years ago. So I wanted to thank everybody. Also, it's incredibly exciting as I kind of look out at the folks in the audience today. We have been working incredibly hard in Southwest Lansing, and I see folks like Chaz Carrillo and Brent Forsberg, and I see Roxanne Case, and I see David Burns, and I see Melissa Wright and James Denning and Paul Anderson with the Southwest Action Group. The list goes on and on. This agenda, I'm just hoping folks in Southwest Lansing understand how committed folks are and how hard folks are working in Southwest Lansing for what really has been a historically marginalized community to make sure that the conversation moving forward is not that, right?
We have 820 West Miller, which is just an incredible project. Obviously up for a public hearing tonight. We have 2130 West Homes, which is another just trailblazing pioneer level kind of development that will really allow for folks in the community to have some say in the development in the community, to invest in their community, and really help support what we call regenerative development. We have as part of the consent agenda, we actually have a noise waiver. This might be the most exciting piece for some, right? Particularly in the Colonial Village and Luton Ridge neighborhoods, but we have a noise waiver public hearing to set for the construction of Pleasant Grove from Mount Hope to West Home. So a lot of really exciting things are happening in Southwest Lansing, and to everybody in the audience, at home, administration, et cetera, that are working on those things, thank you. We could not be happier in Southwest Lansing. We know it takes an absolute team, and this team is robust and fantastic. Thank you.
Do we have any further comments? Councilmember Jackson.
Thank you. I just want to take a few minutes of privilege to talk about board and commissions. Normally, I try to go with the flow and go with all the reappointments and kind of vet them because it's our job, but for the most part, there's not pushback. I push back on the board, water, and light commissioners all the time for a lot of reasons, and sometimes the LPD commissioners and the appointments, because it is so important to our community to have those people serving and basically building a relationship, being transparent, and doing what our community needs. So I became aware that our first ward commissioner, Farhan Omar, is not being reappointed, or at least being brought up for reappointment. And that's really concerning because I know Farhan is a good person, a concerned citizen, somewhat of a voice of dissent, but I would submit to everyone that some dissent is a strength, it's not a weakness. To have 1 out of 8 people on the Lansing Police Commissioners that's gonna say something that might rile people up or that might be outside the box. So I became alert and aware of that, and now it's coming to fruition because I see as the appointment for, it's number 26 on the agenda, is for a different First Ward Police Commissioner. So I kind of have my antennas up on that, and I would say that I understand that there's been written complaint about Farhan as a commissioner from some of his comments, I believe on Facebook. But when I look at number 38 on the agenda, which is an outside communication of the Capital City Labor Program, a communication, it says to the president, but I don't think it's really to the president because it's not the president that ultimately brings the recommendations. But what it reads is opposition to Farhan being reappointed. And some of the things it says is just opposite of what at least I know to be true, where it says that this commissioner fails to increase transparency and ensure accountability, that this commissioner, among other things, lacks a commitment to advancing public trust. Really, Farhan lacks a commitment to advancing public trust, and also that he doesn't take on a duty of public trust. I know he's been to all his meetings, all of the special ceremonies. He might have dissent, but again, dissent is a strength. It's not something that anybody should be afraid of. And that seems like what's happening. And that his conduct serves to erode credibility in the city. So I'm like, what on earth did Farhan do to get this such a bad report? So I did take the privilege of being his Facebook friend to look through his Facebook on public safety recently, and I can tell you the few things I saw on March 20th. He mentions LPD officer embezzlement case and has a comment about that in public and needing public trust, not taking it away, needing it. So, okay, I look on. March 25th, he shared a warning from Lansing Township Police about a scam that's going on. March 27th, he shared an article about the hero Juan Cabrera Jr. who saved someone in a fire. On April 8th, there's appreciation for shutting down centerfolds. On April 28th, there's sympathy for the vehicular accident that killed somebody. There's comments about how Lansing's patrol is so low, especially during night. And there's further comments about how the Lansing police budget continues to grow to fund positions, but there's further comment on how those positions that get funded don't get filled, and there's call for change. So there's also 620 sharing a missing 14-year-old girl, 7-1 saying that crime is not done for many families, and that he knows people who are victims, are involved, who think that crime is not done, and that using data, saying it's down or not or whatever, isn't going to make it safer. That's a comment. That's his comment. And that sounds like a little bit of dissent. And again, I don't think any commissioners, police commissioner, or any board, water and light, even though they have definitely a unanimous vote, should want to have no thought diversity. We need people like Farhan on the Lansing board because, believe it or not, he does have a good reputation in the community. Can you imagine that maybe Farhan does represent 1/8 of the people in Lansing and how at least they feel, or at least from talking to them and being around him? I can believe it because I know that 100% of Lansing doesn't feel the same way and vote the same way. And having somebody speak up is a good thing. I think we want that. So I just want to take that time to speak on that. We do have appointments for Lansing police commissioners for his position in the first ward. It's a good person, but I won't be supporting that person because of how it came. And I don't think that we should vote someone else in just because this person had a letter from the police labor department, police labor people. It says, Lansing Police Department, Grand Ledge Police Department, Eaton County, Animal Control, 911, all the police union people wrote this letter, of course, but then they really don't know about Omar and what he actually does. So we should not allow, having one person is not going to be that bad. It's not going to take down the whole LPD. If anything, it's going to add more thoughts and ideas, so I think we should keep them. And I just wanted to share that publicly because it was bothering me. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any further comments? Councilman Pelly Bonaglu.
Thank you. Thank you, President Cost, and thank you, Councilman Jackson, for your comments. Typically, I believe that the appointments would go through committee. So there could be an opportunity to discuss this matter within the Public Safety Committee and have a thorough discussion on the particular appointment for the first ward. And so I would like to put that forward, that we could absolutely put that forward as an agenda topic. Is that?
Yes, I think it may have already been moved through. No? Okay. Well, yeah, the public safety will get it first, but I still think it's wrong, and I wanted to bring it up early in case anybody wasn't aware.
Any further comment? Okay, seeing none, we are moving on.
Okay, I do have a couple of announcements regarding the election. We will have 3 days of early voting for the August 5th primary, so they will all be at our Rio Elections Office. We'll have Wednesday, July 30th from 1 to 7, and then Saturday, August 2nd, and Sunday, August 3rd from 10 a.m. until 4 p.m. Also, there is still plenty of time to vote by absentee ballot. We've mailed out around 23,000 ballots, and about 20% of those have come back. You've got 3 more weeks to get those ballots back to us. And if you want to get an absentee ballot and haven't gotten one yet, you can call 483-4131 or visit lansingvotes.gov. With that, we are to community event announcements. If there's anyone in the audience, you can have up to 1 minute to announce your event.
So, is this thing on? Okay, so the Old Everett Neighborhood Association will be hosting a neighborhood meeting this Wednesday, July 16th at 6:30 p.m. at the Village Lansing, 3525 South Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. We're still looking to rebuild our board. Also, on Sunday, August 3rd, is going to be the date of our neighborhood picnic at 4 p.m. at Stabenow Park, previously known as Washington Park. You can bring any food or drink you want to, just so long as it doesn't contain any alcohol in it whatsoever. And you can bring any games you want to, just so long as they're family friendly. And that's all I'm going to say about that for now.
Thank you. Other community event announcements?
The Friends of Lansing's Historic Cemeteries is hosting their annual service project at the Boys Training School site in Mount Hope Cemetery this Sunday at noon, from noon to 2 p.m. In Section R of Mount Hope Cemetery. The Boys Training School site will be cleaning the 61 markers there. We'll provide all the materials and supplies. We ask that if you come and you bring a kneeling pad or something to be able to get down on the grass without encountering ticks or whatever. So we are looking for 12 volunteers. We have 5 signed up so far. If you're able to help and want to join us with this project, you can email us at lanssemfriends@aol.com. That's LANSCEM friends@aol.com. And the Boys Training School site was a state-run juvenile delinquency facility operating from 1856 to 1972.
Thank you. Other community events? All right, seeing none. Now is the time, if you have not registered to speak on legislative matters, we'll give you about 1 more minute, and legislative matters includes items 4 through 19 on the agenda. And that's the blue form in the back with Magdalene. And with that, we are to the mayor's comments.
Mayor Shore.
All right, thank you, Mr. President. A few thank yous. You already heard 2 of them, so I'll mention them quickly. One, the One Faith event, which was wonderful on Saturday in the northern downtown. Lots of folks, every bit as great as what Councilwoman Carter said, and then some. It was fantastic. So thank you to Pastor Tracy and all the other folks that were there. Similarly, that afternoon, we had our Kingdom Ministries community event in South Lansing. So we had really faith organizations that were doing incredible work in Lansing, both in the downtown as well as on the south side. And Kingdom Ministries had a 3-on-3 tournament. They had resources, they had food. So I'm really glad that we were able to see that on both the north side, or the downtown, and the south side. I heard Beer Fest went well. I did not go, but I heard from several folks that did. Same with Comic-Con. My son went, and several of my staff went. I did not go, but again, great to have these wonderful events in Lansing. Scrap Fest, if you did not go, you missed out on some really cool metal art, and I think you can go see it on their webpage. And then the Fit Court launch at Benjamin Davis, same thing. With everything that Councilman Hussein said, I couldn't say it any better, but there's so much energy right now in Southwest Lansing. We have it as an area of focus, and I think Councilman Hussein a year or 2 ago said, what does that mean? You know, are we doing anything? And then he pitched us on a fit park, and really, it was just a great launch. The rain would not keep us away. We had to rush a little bit, but the rain would not keep us away. So in case folks are wondering, we now have fit parks, 3 on the south side. We have one at McGuire Park, we have one at Stabenow Park, and we now have one at Benjamin Davis Park, and then the 4th one is downtown on the River Trail. So I think that's fantastic. We can do that for our residents. We got a lot coming up. I'll go through pretty quickly. We have tomorrow, Chris Klein is here. We have a meeting at Union Missionary Baptist Church about the Racer Trust site, which is the old Plant 6 Fisher Body plant. As folks who've been around some time know, that was a plant. It was taken down, but the underground infrastructure is all still there. So we got a grant for $19 million to clear that out. And then North Point's going to come in and talk about some planning and things. And I know there are a lot of West Side residents who are interested. So folks are welcome to go to that. Again, at Union Missionary Baptist Church tomorrow at 6. We have our next concert in the park at Turner Dodge this Wednesday, and then the Wednesday after, I think we're at Fulton Park in Southwest Lansing. And I can't tell you who the bands are, but I'm sure it'll be great. Friday, we are going to open our recycling drop-off center down at on South Street, and we'll be able to recycle things like styrofoam and other things that we've not been able to recycle here. So that'll be pretty cool. And then Monday, we have our disability flag raising here at the Capitol, or at the Capitol, here at City Hall, right in front of City Hall. I wasn't going to comment on it, and I'm not going to get into debate, but I just want to point out that when I put forward appointments, I have no problem with anybody who has dissent. I put people on boards that dissent all the time. Where I have concerns are when people provide misleading or false information as a city official. People can say whatever the heck they want on social media, but if someone does something as a city official, that's my line. That's where I draw the line. But I have tremendous faith in Florencio Hernandez, who we're putting before council. And if council approves him, I think he'll be fantastic. So that's who I have put forward, and that's who you have in your packet today. Thank you, Mr. President and council.
Thank you.
Okay, we are to public comment on legislative matters. As I indicated, that's items 4 through 19. Items 4 through 8 are all public hearings. Number 4 is Brownfield Plan number 86. Number 5 is Brownfield Plan number 88. Item 6 is amending Chapter 1460 to require that rental dwellings have insurance covering tenant relocation costs. Item 7 is amending Chapter 1460 to create a tenant relocation fee. And item 8 is amending Chapter 1460 to update and correct internal references.
Councilmember Garza.
All right, thank you, Council President. So the first scheduled public hearing is the Brownfield Redevelopment Plan, number 86, Novi Properties, for the long vacant property at 820 West Miller Road. This site many know as the old Steve's Lounge or Augie's. Some of the specifics are, this is a $4 million redevelopment project led by local developers Melissa White and James Denning. Their plan will transform this blighted, functionally obsolete site into a vibrant community asset, including a laundromat, retail, restaurant, on-site office, event space, and outdoor areas like patios and walking paths. This project is expected to create 13 new jobs and generate about $602,000 in new tax revenue over a 30-year brownfield tax increment financing plan, with $440,000 going towards eligible environmental cleanup, demolition, and redevelopment costs. This property has been vacant or severely underused for over a decade, with parts like the laundromat sitting empty for 30 years. This redevelopment will remove a long-standing public health and safety concern, attract businesses and residents back to South Lansing, and raise surrounding property values. Under Michigan's Brownfield program, once eligible costs are reimbursed, the property returns fully on the tax rolls, strengthen our local tax base. This plan has broad community and Lansing Economic Development Corporation support and reflects our shared goals of bringing life back to key neighborhoods. Do you want me to continue the next one? Okay, the next one we have is Brownfield Plan number 88, Michigan Avenue Rehabilitation Project, 603 to 607 East Michigan Avenue. Some of the specifics are, this project will redevelop 6 vacant buildings in the 600 block of East Michigan Avenue, previously owned by the City Rescue Mission, which is relocating to the 400 block of West Kalamazoo Street. It's the first housing project in Lansing using the Brownfield TIF tool under the updated 2023 law, creating 15 attainable housing units for residents earning 80 to 120% AMI, approximately 52 to 78,000, and 6 small retail spaces. Retail spaces are about 570 to 700 square feet. They're designed for local startups with estimated rents of $1,200 a month. This project is led by the Gillespie Group in partnership with Leap Thrive and the Michigan Avenue Revitalization Group, and leverages state funding and local labor. Housing mix includes studios, 1 bedrooms, and 1 2-bedroom unit with rents between $950 and $1,300 a month. There will be 7 on-site parking spots and 8 off-site, with some reliance on walkable urban infrastructure. Additional improvements include facade upgrades and rain gardens, contributing to the corridor's revitalization. These buildings are dating back to 1907, have been underused and deteriorating for years. For some, 3 were owned by the City Rescue Mission, which meant they were exempt from property taxes and not contributing to the city's tax base. And that's all I have for those 2.
Okay, thank you. And then I have Council Member Pelli-Voneglo.
Thank you, President Cost. I will go down the list for these three. Excuse me. The first is to amend the Lansing Codified Ordinances, Chapter 1460, Section 1460.49A, to add a requirement that rental dwellings have insurance covering tenant relocation costs prior to issuance of a certificate of compliance. Some specifics in this read that the certificate of compliance shall be issued only after an inspection of the premises has been conducted by the Office of Code Compliance, appropriate fees have been paid, the owner or their agent has provided proof of a valid insurance policy carried by the owner or tenant providing coverage for tenant relocation costs, and there are no delinquent real property taxes owed upon the dwelling. After the inspection, the Office of Code Compliance shall not issue a certificate when the existing conditions can constitute a hazard to the health or safety of those who may occupy the premises. Of note, if at the time of application the owner does not have the proof of insurance, a certificate of compliance may be issued only with written acknowledgement by the owner of the requirements and obligations of Section 1460.51 of this Code of Ordinances. And that leads directly into the next item, which is the Section 1460.51 to create a tenant relocation fee to provide that the fee only be assessed when the city pays for a tenant's relocation resulting from a required vacation from residential premises because of a condition making the premises unsafe to occupy, to provide for fee waiver when the relocation costs are otherwise covered by insurance, and to provide for calculation, billing, and collection of the fee. Essentially, the owner or party of interest whose name appears on the city's real property tax assessment records for the rental premises shall be responsible for and pay to the city the tenant relocation fee with the following parameters. If the City Office of Code Compliance determines that the tenant or tenants of a rental unit or structure governed by the regulations and requirements of this chapter must vacate the rental premises for their health and safety as a result of the premises being declared unsafe and uninhabitable, and if the time it is vacated, the rental structure is legally inhabited pursuant to this chapter, at the time the tenants vacate the rental structure or unit, the owner, tenant, or landlord does not have a valid insurance policy in place that covers the tenant's relocation costs in the sum that is equal to or exceeds the tenant relocation fee, and provides proof within 24 hours of the request of the insurance policy and coverage in acceptable form to the manager of code compliance. And the city provides, at the city's initial cost and expense, immediate temporary replacement relocation housing for the tenant or tenants. The fee specifically, the fee reimbursement amount shall not be greater than an amount per day to be set by resolution of council. It shall not be set for more than 30 days and shall not exceed the amount the city actually pays for housing. And I'm sorry, the final item is Chapter 1460 to update and correct internal references located in this section, 1460.44 subsections A and I, and 1460.50, essentially updating internal references for the previous two items just read off. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we do have one written communication from Nancy Malo on behalf of the Eastside Neighborhood Organization in support of Brownfield Plan 88. And I believe there are also several letters that are already part of the council packet in support as well. First speaker tonight is Loretta Stanaway, followed by Pat Gillespie. You have 3 minutes to address the council. Loretta Stanaway?
Well, you guys have heard me say this before, so it's kind of like a refresher for you, but let's refresh. Brownfields, all three of these projects are nice projects. They're all things that are positive things. They're all things that will improve their neighborhoods and hopefully increase property values. But for 15 years and for 30 years, those developers will reap the benefits of having public services, police and fire, streets and roads, snow removal, you name it, that they are not paying for, and that us citizens are not getting at the levels that we should get because our finances as a city are restricted by the loss of those incomes. So again, you're asking for the citizenry who is already tired of sacrificing service levels we are entitled to get and are not getting, to continue to not get them for the private profit of developers for 30 years. No.
Thank you. Next is Pat Gillespie, followed by Joe Neller.
Hi, Pat Gillespie. Office is at 330 Marshall Street, Lansing, Michigan. I just wanted to say thank you for taking the time to listen to the presentation a couple weeks ago, and we're just here to answer any questions if you have any. Just want to let you know we're available for them. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, Joe Neller, followed by Courtney Freto.
Hi, good evening. Joe Neller on behalf of Simtop Management, an affordable housing and property management company headquartered here in Lansing. Speaking generally in support of the tenant relocation and insurance ordinances, we do have some questions. We appreciate the time and effort that has gone into drafting these ordinances. We appreciate the amendments that have already taken place in public safety, namely to make the insurance no longer a mandate and to include renter's insurance as part of the compliance with the rental certificate requirements. However, as we participated and observed these discussions, we've heard some statements that we feel are conflicting. We've heard council members say that if the tenant is responsible for the resulting red tag, that these ordinances would not be enforced. We have subsequently heard comments from members of the Office of the City Attorney saying that they are intentionally not trying to determine liability between landlord and tenant when making the determination on the resulting red tag. We would strongly ask you to take a little bit more time with these ordinances and think through these issues, particularly as it relates to insurance claims. Anyone that's tried to file an insurance claim knows that insurance companies do whatever they can to deny or not pay a claim. That becomes increasingly harder when documentation on why a building was red tagged is not included. And Simtop Management, in its 5 years of operation, has had several insurance claims that have been a headache because of that exact reason. And so we'd like to see some additional thought put into these, but we are generally supportive. We think that landlords should be held accountable if they're not keeping their properties safe and livable for individuals and families. We think any bad landlord gives all bad landlords a bad name and is a blight on the reputation of the city of Lansing. Anyone who's been paying attention the last few years knows that the city is working on these issues. Mayor Shore put bad landlords on notice in his State of the City address. The Committee on Public Safety has put people through the make safe or demolish process in enforcing these red tags. We think that's all a good thing, right? And we think that the city should have as many tools at its disposal to hold bad landlords accountable. The problem is that when this body makes policy, they can't make policy that only applies to bad landlords. It applies to all landlords. So we just are asking for some additional thoughtful consideration to make sure that we've thought through all of these issues as it relates to tenant relocation and red tags. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Courtney Freto, followed by Christy Welch.
Good evening. My name is Courtney Fredo, and I represent the Property Management Association of Mid-Michigan, as well as my employer, PK Companies, who has 20 rental units in the city of Lansing in the Cherry Hill neighborhood that we're currently undergoing an extensive rehab for. I've been in the property management industry almost 15 years, and I hold real estate certified insurance professional designation. I'm here today in opposition of the amendment to Chapter 1460 that would require that rental dwellings have insurance covering tenant relocation costs. While we understand the rationale behind this amendment and the issue it seeks to address, we do not agree with this proposed solution. This isn't only a question of cost, but feasibility. While tenant relocation coverage can be included in some policies, typically in a renter's insurance policy, A specific event must be the cause of the loss in order to be eligible for coverage, and it varies per policy. A typical property policy will cover losses caused by fire, water, explosion, smoke, wind. Deferred maintenance, negligence, and health and safety issues, which appears to be the reason for many red tag properties in the city of Lansing, are not events that would trigger coverage under any policy. Even if coverage is triggered by a covered cause of loss or covered peril, typical renter's insurance policies can cover relocation costs. Oh, I'm sorry about that. It is a common requirement of housing providers that residents provide evidence of renter's insurance prior to moving in and annually thereafter. Requiring housing providers to bear the expense of an additional policy or pay outright for relocation costs is unreasonable. We fully support the legislation that punishes the bad landlords, but not at the expense of the good ones. Despite some public perception, many dedicated housing providers work hard to provide quality housing in our communities and prevent properties from falling into neglect. I left a letter with my submission for the council from our insurance agent expanding on the insurance concerns. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Christy Welsh, followed by Randy Watkins.
Hi, my name is Christy Welch. I'm a regional property manager for KMG Prestige, and I also represent the Property Management Association of Mid-Michigan as well as Michigan. I'm not in favor of the bill requiring relocation assistance with red tags. The amount this will add to the property's financial burden is huge. When I talked to my risk management department, she didn't even think this kind of insurance existed, and let alone could not imagine the cost it will cost properties. Most landlords do our best to comply with our code compliance requirements, and the holdups are typically caused by residents that are not cooperating and the time it takes for eviction. To get somebody evicted from our property that's causing health and safety issues is anywhere from 3 to 6 months, and that's at the best. So the issues we see is disputing whose the red tag's fault it is. So if it's caused by the landlord neglect or tenant behavior. We also see potential rent increases to offset the cost of the insurance increasing, which would ultimately affect our residents poorly. There's higher barriers for investors to enter into the housing market, which will also add to the increased housing shortage that we're already facing. I would also like you guys to reconsider this bill and maybe even talk to property managers in the Lansing area, that maybe we can come up with a better solution.
Thank you. Next is Randy Watkins, followed by MC Rothorn.
Hello, my name is Randy Watkins. I am currently the board president of the Eastside Community Action Center, and I am here to discuss claim number 2176. On December 18th, 2025, the center purchased 1018 Bench Street from the Ingham County Land Bank. At the time we purchased the property, there was no red tag notice in the city of Lansing. When we did our title insurance search on the property, there was no red tag notice on the property. We owned the property maybe 30 days before a red tag showed up, and that red tag said we owed the city $674. As I understand the ordinance, there should have been a red tag and a 90-day period to make any appropriate corrections. We did not get that notice, nor did we have any time to make the appropriate changes. We have always been a good actor within the city of Lansing, and we are basically asking that this fee be waived because based on the information that we have, this was a mistake by the city, and we do not feel we should pay for the city's mistake. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is MC Rothorn, followed by Nicholas Zandy.
Hi, I'm MC Rothorn. I'm here as a member of the City of Lansing Sustainability Commission. Before you, I think item 18 is the Michigan Extended Producer Responsibility Policy. I'm here to answer questions. Don't have to say anything more, but I wanted you to know that we care. We're really glad that you all are doing this or considering it, and I'm here to let you know that you're doing a good job. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you. Next is
No
Nicholas.
questions, right? Oh, we're still going to talk about it. Okay, thanks. I'm trying to get it. Thanks.
Next is Nicholas Zandy, followed by Jody Washington.
Okay, first off, I want to say that to the city council, please do not listen to those landlords. Landlords always lie, and they need to be regulated. Having said that, what I will say on my own time is about the liquor license thing. It is, again, infuriating that you have to keep considering liquor licenses when we've already got enough as they are. And also, this specific liquor license is way on the east side from the Pandolph Hill Corporation, wherever that is, for what looks to be some, like, nightclub thing, which I don't know if I want to burst their bubble, but I'm pretty sure the east side already has one, the Avenue Cafe, which is very nightclub-like, as it has alcohol, which I'm pretty sure it's licensed to have, a bouncer, and I'm pretty sure entertainment and some dancing, I think, and even trivia, which the east side was nice enough to do trivia for their neighborhood there. So having said that, like, is it really necessary to have another nightclub on the east side with a liquor, and let alone just another liquor license, which the city's already issued, I think, about 20 licenses on the east side, maybe less than that, maybe more, I'm not sure, but from what I've heard from the east side community meeting, at least the last one before the summer, was that there was at least about like 17 in the east side alone. And again, we already have enough as there is, and it has contributed to a littering problem in the city of Lansing, and I should know because at bus stops, there are plenty of glass bottles to be found right next to him, whether there's a canopy there or not. And I just don't think it's necessary to do another liquor license or another nightclub on the east side when it's got plenty of them and already has one of them, so it doesn't need a second one. It is high time we put a limit and a moratorium on that, whatever that word is, and not expand any further on liquor licenses or nightclubs, and consider some more family-friendly entertainment facilities, more similar to something like what the Village Lansing did with a boxing ring, which, yes, I know, senseless violence stuff, but no, it's not about senseless violence. It's about discipline, hard work, and just overall athleticism and being a good sport. So we need more of something like that and less of something like nightclubs. That is all I'm going to because we already got one. That's all I'm going to say, and I'll yield the rest of my time.
Thank you. And the last speaker is Jody Washington.
Hi, Jody Washington. I'm going to start with saying I'm thrilled with the Gillespie project on Michigan Avenue. It's time we start revisioning Michigan Avenue, and I'm happy to get it back on the tax rolls and to just clean up the avenue to the Capitol. The other thing I want to talk about very quickly is, Brian, thank you for bringing up Farhan's appointment. I am really disappointed with you, Andy Shore. I don't think saying that crime is not going down to be an egregious lie. And as far as the letter from the police union, it's my understanding that you may have requested that. And Farhan represents the Muslim community, the refugee community. He just recently got out of public housing. He is a fine individual. He has tried to serve this community for years, and mostly you have pushed him back. It was my desire on the Charter Commission to get the board appointments out from under the mayor and have the council appoint their ward representatives, and the at-large members appoint theirs. I think the mayor has too much power in this, and dissenting voices are not welcomed. I asked to be on the HRCS board, and the president of council at that time told the mayor he would not put it through because he didn't think I had a proper voice for that board. I gave decades of my life to this city, decades, and one person thought I didn't have a needed voice. Yep, I'm strong, I'm opinionated, and I'm well informed. I fought back. I was horrified that the mayor felt free to call me at my home with that message. And I'll tell you, Andy, I don't like dishonesty from any of my elected officials, and that includes you. Farhan should be the appointment. You didn't want him from the beginning. You were proud to announce you were going to appoint a Latino. What in heaven's name does that have to do with anything? We should be appointing the best people to represent every population in our city, not just those that will agree with you. And that was the message given. The mayor appoints the board members. Therefore, they should get along with him. Why? They're supposed to be on there as a voice for the citizens. So I would ask you, as this goes forward, since the commission didn't see fit to give the responsibility of board appointments to you, that you really, really question the people that come forward. Thank you.
Thank you. We are to the referral of the public hearings, items 4 and 5, Brownfield Plans 86 and 88.
Planning and Development.
Okay, and items 6, 7, and 8, the different amendments to Chapter 1460.
Public Safety.
Okay, we are to the consent agenda.
Vice President Carter.
Thank you. I will move the following consent agenda items as follows. Number 9, tribute in recognition of Samuel Cisco Duncan IV, new pastor of Lansing Church of God in Christ. Community Development Block Grant, CDBG, Annual Action Plan for fiscal year 2025 through 2026 funding allocations. The investment policy. Liquor license Pandolph Hill Corporation for a Class C license with Sunday sales. Dance, entertainment, and outdoor service area permits at 3224 East Michigan Avenue, Suite G. Setting the public hearing on noise special permit, Hoffman Brothers, Inc., a request to allow for conducting work as part of the combined sewer operation for 019 project at 1038 North Larch Street. Community funding for Eastside Neighborhood Organization, Eastside Summer Fest. Setting a public hearing on noise special permit requests from the Public Service Department to allow rehabilitating Pleasant Grove Road from Holmes Road to Mount Hope Avenue, and setting the public hearing for the Brownfield Plan Number 80, Amendment 1, Pleasant Grove and Holmes Mixed Use Redevelopment Project 2130 West Holmes Road.
Okay, we have a proper motion in place. Is there any further discussion on the consent agenda? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously.
Okay, we are to resolutions for action. Item 17 is claim appeal for claim number 2176.
Councilmember Brown.
Thank you. We had a public comment by the president of the board who explained kind of the situation from Eastside Community Action Center for $674 for red tag fee on 1018 Bench Street. And basically they came to committee and said that they weren't notified, weren't aware, and, you know, they would like this red tag fee waived. My comments during committee was the fact that, for me, they are a community partner of the city and do rehabilitation and the nonprofit work. So I believe it was stated that they were recipients of our HRCS grants as well as CBDG funding. And so it's like, in my thought was, if we're working with the organization who's helping the city and we're paying them and then we're charging a fee, it seems like it's going back and forth into pockets. There was no history of red tag challenges with their properties in the past. And so for that, I won't be supporting this. But that is kind of the background.
Okay. So,
Need a motion.
Motion? Okay, we have a proper motion in place. Is there any further discussion on this issue? Councilmember Jackson, followed by Councilmember Hussein.
I just want to make sure I vote right. So if I don't want them to pay that money, I vote no, right? Correct.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, a no vote would be to say that the red tag monitoring fee is not, they don't have to pay it, to be clear. A yes vote would be, we move forward with what's in the resolution. I have Councilmember Hussein.
Yeah, so just real quick, in terms of committee, was there a report from Economic Development and Planning? And if so, what did they discuss in terms of, communication and, maybe this was an oversight, miscommunication?
It seemed like it was that information with the county involved as well. So they're saying we show the records that we did inform you or you were aware. They said that they were not. The county was not present, so it was kind of up in the air. Thank you for asking that question, Council.
But they did say that as part of, because the past few years, we know that practice has been that Economic Development and Planning has been involved with the county auction process, that they've actually done a presentation, and then that as part of property information in terms of City of Lansing, if there are red tags and things of that nature, that's actually included in there. Did they?
Yes,
That's what they said?
That is the process,
Okay.
yes.
All right, thank you.
Do we have any further questions? Councilmember Pelivanoglou.
Thank you, President Cost. Just a very brief question. I did have Councilmember Hussein's question as well, so thank you for asking that. But do you have a sense of why the structure was red tagged? Was it minor in nature?
I can't recall the specifics, but what it is basically, the property, what Eastside Community Action Center does is take rehab and red tag properties and rehabilitate them to do a rent-to-own program and get lower-income individuals in the opportunity to actually own their own home. So they purchased the property in December, and then they started accumulating red tag fees while they were trying to actually get started and rehab it for their program, in which we're partnered with them on.
Councilmember Spatafor.
So, just a little clarification, I think, if I may. This was actually red tagged in 2022, and it was an ongoing red tag issue. So when it was purchased with the red tag fees assigned and assessed. As we've seen in a number of incidents, this has happened before. I think when we did discuss this in committee, while Councilmember Brown made some excellent points about the ongoing and great nature of the organization, denying it may set some precedent about what the process looks like going forward, and consideration of the entity may not be appropriate in this instance.
And understanding where he's coming from, what the reason why I understand what he's saying, but I'm not saying just because they're a nonprofit, is because they're saying we've been doing this, we are a community partner. If we were aware of this, we would have paid it or worked out something from the beginning. So I think they're a little bit more sophisticated than, a first-time person purchasing and saying, well, we weren't aware. They're saying this was not provided like any other time that we've purchased property. And I think it's just a principal issue with them, as well as, where my sentiments are. Thank you.
Thanks, Councilman Brown. And I have to agree with Councilmember Spatafor. I personally, very much appreciate what they do for the community with these houses, but, it's been red tagged since 22. Unfortunately, the ordinance is what the ordinance is, and if we were to overturn this, in my opinion, that starts to set a pretty bad precedent for many of the properties that we have not done this for. So I will be voting yes on the resolution. Councilmember Jackson.
Just quickly, I just want to note that there are no true precedent rules, and that we do take everything on a case-by-case basis. And I do appreciate precedents. I know, and it's really everybody's prerogative how they want to vote, how much weight they establish with the precedent. But for me, it's case by case. And from what I'm hearing, it's not like they're trying to move people in. They're trying to it's their nonprofit job to get one of our dilapidated properties so people can live in it. And the money that they have, which is limited, is usually used towards activities related to rehabbing the project. So when we have the red tag fees, we are, in every case, in some cases, They deserve it, I guess, but we are diverting money for rehab to monitoring fees. And here, on this case, I would vote no for this.
Councilmember Pelli-Vonnegut.
Thank you. One follow-up question. Is it that the new, when this property was purchased by the current owner, they were not receiving notices of the monthly fee? Is that?
Yeah, so when they purchased the property, from their testimony, is they were saying the issue saying it was red tag and there's a fee, they was not provided. So they would have, so what they said in committee is they would have took that under consideration and maybe negotiate the price or anything else, but they weren't aware until later, and then all of a sudden they said, oh, you owe $600.
And thank you. And just one follow-up. So is it that our records were incorrect when they purchased the property? Is that at the heart of the issue?
That's what they're saying, is they weren't informed at the time of the purchase through the county auction.
On the website for the city of Lansing,
Yes,
information they were given during the purchase process.
Yes, they said it was.
And then they didn't receive any notices on a monthly basis from.
Correct, and then what they also said was, the testimony from the president here is, once they purchased it, they were not the owners in 2022. So, for example, I don't have the exact month, but if they purchased it in, I think it was November or December, they stated, then the new, based on our ordinance, you have 90 days before you start getting a fee. And they're saying, well, as soon as they got the notice, the fee started immediately from when they purchased the property.
So I think what we're missing here, and Greg, maybe you can help with this, is, so it was red tagged, it went to a land bank, which stopped the red tag fee, but then they purchased it, which immediately starts the red tag fee. So the 90 days would only apply to, say, something that was recently red tagged by the department.
That's correct. The policy is, there's a presumption that if a property becomes red tagged and it was previously livable, there's a presumption that the owner is going to be fixing it as quickly as possible. So for those first 90 days, the red tag monitoring does not begin because, again, there's a presumption that it's not functionally an abandoned property. After the 90 days of the red tag, and I'm using red tag to stand in for the status of the house becoming unlivable. So after that, that's when the monitoring begins, and the monitoring fee goes along with that. Whether it changes owners or not, the 90-day pause period does not restart because the condition of the property remains the same through the entire time. And that's also correct. Procedurally, the city, there's like a 1 to 2 month pause on monitoring fees once it comes into the land bank, because they are out at the property on a regular basis, 1, and 2, they need to have a final number, because any back red tags or back taxes, I mean, the county essentially has to have a final number that they bring out to market as so that when they sell the properties that they have foreclosed upon, they try to pay back all owed debts and taxes. And so there's a very brief pause, but then as soon as it changes hands, it continues to be monitored. And I recall from this one that the property was in a pretty sad state, because it was boarded up in 2022. It was in a pretty sad state when at the auction sale, or the land bank transaction, which was at the end, November, December of last year.
Mr. Mayor?
So to answer a few of the questions, it was on the website. This is on BSNA. It's an easy BSNA search, so it is on the website. Now that not everybody knows to search BSNA, I get that. I think we expect that that the seller will tell the buyer, and maybe that didn't happen, so maybe this body needs to send something to the county requesting that, you know, any land bank or other sales, they alert. Maybe not, but from my understanding, our folks did what they were supposed to do. And yeah, I mean, the red tag was issued, a few years before, and ECAC got the notice at the normal 90-day period, and as soon as the address changed, they got the notification. I understand what they're saying, that they didn't know, and I would encourage that any property seller does a search on the property when they buy it, so that they know if the house has that kind of a fee. But we have a policy that's, as you said, Mr. President, is in ordinance that says that any property that goes to the red tag process, there is a red tag fee per month. So I guess to answer the questions on, was it on the website? Yes, it was on the BSNA site. They started receiving the invoices as soon as they were the owners. Again, we can't comment on why the sellers didn't tell them or why they didn't ask or whatever, that I don't know, but the rest did actually go according to ordinance, is my understanding.
Thank you. Councilmember Brown.
Thank you. I believe I've been on councils when we approved the red tag fees, and I think the spirit behind it is not trying to discourage individual groups from rehabbing properties for lower income individuals to get first-time home buyer and get into a nice house. So the spirit behind, I think my yes vote on red tag fees was for bad actors and, people who weren't trying to change the status of their property, just having red tags for years. And I don't think this is the case, and so that's why I'm voting no, on top of the back and forth with, what happened. But this seems like a real discouragement, over $600 for an organization who the group doesn't even take salaries. So I just, we're giving them 20, 30, 50, hundreds of thousands of dollars from the city to help with this work.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, it's completely just doesn't make any sense. So thank you.
And I appreciate that, Councilmember Brown. What I would say to you is, if you see that it's broken, you're the chair of city operations, perhaps you could work with the city attorney to revisit the ordinance and make adjustments to that ordinance. Because right now, how the ordinance reads is what we're about to vote on. It doesn't give any exception to anyone. So that might be something that you should look into.
Oh, absolutely. I've already looked into it, but what's interesting is, as Councilman Jackson said, is everything is case by case, and in the past, when there's uncertainty about notifications, it hasn't just been, this is the ordinance. Thank you.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Oppose?
Nay.
Can we get a roll call vote?
On the resolution to deny the claim, Councilmember Garza. Councilmember Hussein.
Yes.
Councilmember Jackson. Councilmember Cost.
Yes.
Councilmember Pelli-Vonnegut.
Yes.
Councilmember Spatafor.
Yes.
Councilmember Brown.
No.
Councilmember Carter.
No.
5 yeas, 3 nays, the resolution is adopted. And that takes us to item 18, the extend producer responsibility policies.
Councilmember Jackson.
Thank you. This is a resolution about recycling materials. Currently, producers of any products, they can just make them however they want with as big as boxes and packaging. They can even put a little bit of chips in the big, huge chip with all the air and then pack a whole bunch of those into a big, huge box. And basically, whoever buys them, whatever city it ends up in, is responsible for how it gets disposed of or recycling. And we are asking, well, I guess first this came from the Sustainability Commission, then to our Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Committee. It's a resolution asking us to basically support extended producer responsibility laws. At the state level, this is basically laws that incentivize producers of anything to make it, basically they have to pay for the end of life, part of the end-of-life disposal. So now they have an incentive on the front end to make everything more recyclable, less packaging, so that ultimately it's less things that go to waste, go in the landfill, have to get recycled, et cetera, et cetera. Currently, last year, the bill to support these laws at the state level basically died in lame duck. It didn't get brought to the floor and wasn't voted on. There's currently 7 states that have extended producer responsibility laws, EPR laws, on the books. And what this resolution is doing is basically, from our city level, asking us to support the state to take it up and to consider it, because our city, our recycling, our CART program has to deal with all of the waste that comes. There was someone asking, what do I do with this carpet? What do I do with this refrigerator? What do I do with these batteries? With this cardboard? It goes on and on. So in the long run, it would help the city fiscally, and it would help the environment, because it would at least incentivize producers to go less or pay the price. And our committee added the last whereas paragraph that says that we're going to send a letter to the state delegation, or the Lansing delegation to the state. So I move for its passage.
Okay, we have a proper motion in place. Is there any further discussion on this? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously.
Okay, we are to ordinances for introduction. We are to ordinances for introduction. We have an ordinance of the City of Lansing, Michigan to amend the Lansing Codified Ordinances, Chapter 206, Section 206.02, to add Section 206.02, Sub A, Sub 1, to add and clarify the criteria that shall be considered in determining the lowest and most responsive and responsible bidder in construction contracts, and to require a scoring program for non-monetary criteria to be established by resolution of council. The ordinance is read a first time by its title and refer to the Committee on Development and Planning.
Councilmember Garza.
All right, thank you, Council President. So what we have before us is Chapter 206, Section 206.02 of the Lansing Code of Ordinances, which updates and clarifies how the city awards construction contracts. This amendment strengthens the language around awarding to the most responsive and responsible bidder, meaning we're not just looking at the lowest price, but we're also looking at the contractor's qualifications, past performances, financial stability, workforce capacity, and the ability to meet project requirements. By clearly defining what it means to be the responsive and responsible, this ordinance helps ensure that when we invest city dollars, we are selecting contractors who can actually deliver quality work on time and on budget, not just those who submit the lowest bid on paper. In short, this amendment is about protecting the integrity of our procurement process, improving the quality of city projects, and making sure that when Lansing spends taxpayers' money, it stays invested right here where it matters most. So the benefits is we reduce the risk of project failures, delays, and poor workmanship. We promote fair, transparent, and accountable use of tax dollars. Most importantly, we help ensure that public projects are awarded to contractors who hire qualified local workers and keep our tax dollars circulating here in our community, supporting Lansing families, businesses, and economic growth. And with that, I'd move to set the public hearing for July 28th.
Okay, we've got a proper motion in place to set a public hearing. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously.
Okay, we are to speaker registration for public comment on city government-related matters. If you wish to address the city council, we'll give you about one more minute to get up and fill in a yellow sign-in sheet in the back. And in the meantime, we're to reports of city officers, boards, and commissions.
Vice President Carter.
The reports of city officers, boards, and commission, communications, and petitions, and other city-related matters. So I motion that all items be considered as being read in full and that the proper referrals be made by President Cost.
Okay, proper motion in place. Any further discussion? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Passes unanimously.
Items from the city clerk, minutes of boards and commissions.
Place on file.
Tri-County Office on Aging Fiscal Year Annual Implementation Plan.
Place on file.
Liquor license for La Muleta Private Events.
City operations.
And liquor license for Community Circle Players.
City operations.
Items from the mayor, 2 items relative to amending Chapter 1610 to adopt the 2021 International Fire Code.
Public safety.
The appointment of Florencio Hernandez as First Ward member to the Board of Police Commissioners.
Place on file.
Appointment of Stephen Robertson as an at-large member of the Board of Zoning Appeals.
Development and planning.
Appointment of Catherine Hubbard as a member of the Michigan Avenue Corridor Improvement Authority Board of Directors.
Development and planning.
Reappointment of Anthony Mullen as an at-large member of the Board of Water and Light.
Committee of the Whole.
Noise special permit, 2 items about the rehabilitating Pleasant Grove from Homes to Mount Hope.
That'd be city operations.
And workers' comp settlement claim.
That's polling.
And items from council members Cost and Palivanoglu, 2 items relative to amending Chapter 210, city council attendance.
Committee of the Whole.
Communications and petitions, notice from the Liquor Control Commission, K&R Jackson, Inc., at 34 3814 West Jolly, transferring ownership.
Place on file.
Communication from Ian about tenant relocation.
Place on file.
Communication from Ian about police officers.
Place on file.
And a communication from Capital City Labor Program regarding Farhan Sheikh Omar's appointment to the Board of Police Commissioners.
Place on file.
We are to remarks by council members.
Do we have any further remarks by council members? Councilmember Jackson.
Thank you. Just briefly. So here's a riddle. If a tree falls in a forest and no one is there to hear it, did it make a noise? How do you know if no one was here to hear it? If somebody shoots at somebody and nobody reports it because they're too afraid, they think that the response will be too slow, or maybe they don't have a good relationship and they don't trust that anything will happen. Was there a shooting? And lastly, the author of that letter from the police, what are those called? Councils, is the same person who contested a dismissal when one of our officers got found for 2 times wrongdoing, including stopping somebody, searching them, and assaulting them without cause. The officer received 1-day suspension, discipline with counseling, and part of the counseling ended up to be anger management, and the author of this, because it's his job, objected to that because anger management's not the kind of counseling, and that's outside. The person, the officer in question, had his case dismissed as long as he gets counseling. So this letter that kind of, to me, says bad and untrue things about Farhan is written by the same person who's doing their job, and their last job from at least an article in 2024, that's one of the things that he authored as well, to prevent one of our officers who was found for wrongdoing twice to receive anger management because it was too far outside the box of discipline for what they're with. And I think those are the type of things that create distrust in our community. And by talking about them, whether it's Farhan or somebody else, but especially someone on the Board of Commissioners who has power and a little bit of a voice, I think that is helpful. Even if it doesn't sound good for the community, it should be more like, thank you for your opinion, here's how we're gonna work on that or address it, or thank you for your opinion, I disagree because of this, but not what happened. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay,
We're to the mayor's comments.
thank you.
Okay, public comment on city government related matters. We have Scotty DeSess, followed by Samantha Vave.
My name is Scotty DeSess. I live at 710 Randall. This is about a zone change for what used to be Banish Welding is now Lansing Welding. And they've got a back building that they've rented out to a truck business. And they've got considerable bad things going on. I'm going to tell you what's happening to me. Sitting in the living room watching TV one night, afternoon news, started gagging, and I've got COPD, but it's not that bad that I should be gagging for air. I went to my stove in my kitchen, thought maybe it was gas there. No, I stepped to my back door, and I started gagging again. There was 2 semis sitting behind my property idling. All the smoke from the stacks was coming right into my house. Second incident, a truck came around the corner of this building that's in the back. He blew his horn 3 times, honk, honk, honk. These are air horns. He was only like 120 foot from me, by the back of my house. I had just locked my back door and pulled my keys out. When the horn went off, I peed my pants, my knees gave out, I fell against the door and had to grab the doorknob to keep from hitting the ground. The noise coming from this place, there are pneumatic tools which scream without tools in them. High-pressure air that is released and sounds like a jet taking off. Hammer drills against steel, which is just incredibly loud. Steel cutters. This is all going on right now. This weekend, the air horn started on Saturday at 8:30. Sunday, I was sitting in my back porch, getting ready to leave the house. The door was locked. I could see one person walk. They had parked a vehicle behind my house with the horns facing my house. They had hammer drilled on this vehicle already, and Sunday morning, I seen a man walking out. I could see through the slits in my fence. I can't see who it is or what it is. It's just a shadow moving by. He got to the truck, got into the truck. I couldn't see this.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
And blew his horn
Thank you.
again.
Thank you. Next, we have Samantha Vave, followed by Eric Almquist.
Hi, I'm Dr. Samantha Vave, and I live near Riddle Elementary, which I will come back to in just a second. I'm talking on two separate issues, so I'm going to talk really quickly so I can get them both in under my time. The first is I am a member of the board of the Anishinaabe Friendship Center. We are a nonprofit in Lansing. I hope some of you had the opportunity to attend the powwow in Adado Park last year. As you may or may not know, Lansing occupies the ancestral powwow grounds of the Anishinaabe people, which make up the Odawa, Potawatomi, and Ojibwe people. So we have brought the powwow back to Lansing. It is a free public event. It takes place on September 27th and 28th this year, if we can save it. We were fortunate enough to get state appropriation money last year. As I'm sure you all know, all nonprofits are suffering right now. So I'm here to ask for a donation from council, but also to spread the word to anyone. Mayor Shore has already generously contributed from his own coffers. We would really like to see this event continue, and we need your help. End of first statement. I live near Riddle Elementary. I don't know if any of you had the opportunity to see Riddle Elementary on July 5th, but if you did, you would have seen it trashed, utterly trashed with firework debris. So I'm quickly going to tell you a story about my friend Gus. My friend Gus served in the United States military. He served in Iraq. And when he came back from his tour, the first thing he did was go to Disneyland, as many people do because they give discounts. What he didn't realize is that every night at Disneyland, they set off fireworks. And when the fireworks started going off, his vision went red. He blacked out. He ran into the Indiana Jones ride, where he found the first dark spot that he could locate and had to be held there by security until the fireworks passed. It astounds me that we celebrate the people who sacrifice for this country with something that is so traumatic and triggering to them. So you see in front of you, I've given you copies of a proposed ordinance. We already have limitations on fireworks in the city of Lansing. You have a whole web page dedicated to the problems that they have, although I've included many other environmental and health impacts that they have, especially dogs. A lot of us felt the impact on our dogs this year. We have regulations, but the regulations get blurry, right? You can go till 12, okay, maybe 12:15, okay, maybe 12:30, now it's 2:30 in the morning. They're still going, now it's the next day, and the next day, and the next day, and they're still going. So I'm requesting that we ban civilian use of fireworks within city limits. Of course, groups, the city, lug nuts can still set them off, but I feel like this is a you give an inch, they take a mile situation. And by stopping it altogether, we will get around the people bending the rules. Our police force has much better things to do with their times than trying to chase down these violations. Really quickly, I would ask that within it, no monetary fines, but community service for violations.
Thank you. Next, we have Eric Almquist, followed by Nicholas Zandy.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council members, for letting me be here. Again, I'm here with some solutions. There's a couple things we need that are kind of above and beyond what we're looking to do. We need some HR solutions to get people onboarded quickly. We need code enforcement because we can't do that big, beautiful project out there with one electrical guy. It's not going to happen. We need some bike lane solutions, and we also need a solution for drag racing because it's a problem. We've seen it, and people worked on it, but it's a tough one to do. So how do we pay for these things not on the back of the citizens? Well, we have 100 jobs that are vacant and budgeted. That's about $5 million, approximately, give or take. TIFA says right now, TIFA Forum says we're earning about 1.7% on money we invest as a city. Right now, local credit unions and local banks are offering about 4.5%. So right now, invest locally, put that money locally. Don't change anything else, just move where it's going to and get a better rate. We're leaving about $150,000 on the table that way. That could pay for HR solutions. It could pay for code enforcement. It could take a couple bike lanes. Now let's look at some bike lane solutions. I was traveling, Kankakee, Illinois, has for about $23,000 a mile, has these really cool green marked ones. You can really see what they are. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, by the conservatory, has these divided ones. They're really great. That's about $50,000 a mile. So that's some great options. Drag racing, streets like Pennsylvania and Cedar, they're built for capacity during a rush hour, and that's only about 18% of the time. So we need to kind of figure out a solution there because it invites drag racing. So here's where the magic comes in. Bike lanes with varied solutions on those streets to reduce the lanes will help reduce drag racing as well. It's a option that two things solve each other. It's a great way to be an example that other cities can look at and do kind of what you guys are doing, and I look forward to seeing what you guys are doing with this. Thanks very much.
Thank you. And our final speaker is Nicholas Zandy.
So, you've been hearing a lot of my piece. You've heard Brian T. Jackson's piece about how the city's been treating Farhan Sheikh Omar and how it's a recommendation from the Capital City Labor Program, which I find kind of ironic considering Andy Shore's relation with the firefighters union as of recently. And also, you spelled his name wrong on the agenda, so that just shows how badly you're mistreating him. Having said that, however, what I am going to be saying is that Andy Shore is definitely no saint, and I don't think he should be reelected. However, I don't think that one of his most viable opponents, Brett Rockschmidt, is a good replacement for him at all, or a good alternative. Excuse me. And I'm going to be saying this to the city council in the off chance he does get elected, which hopefully he won't, but in the off chance that he does, that you hold him accountable as well, because what he said on Facebook is just downright infuriating and uncalled for. So, context is this was about an old live stream from Black Lives Matter back like half a decade ago about policing and racism. And he took issue with that old post for some reason, which I don't know why you would take issue with their voices, because they've been marginalized for many, many years, and that it's still, unfortunately, socially acceptable to banish and persecute black people than it is like white people. And a lot of people in the black community were angry about it, and rightly so. And I, of course, also joined in telling him something approximately. First of all, you spread misinformation about the park mileage proposal, and now you're doing this. I am glad that I didn't vote for you in the primary because you are unfit to be mayor, and especially if you're going to keep saying stuff like this. And, of course, and he responded by saying, specifically, you pasty white best friend of, not going to mention the candidate's name because I don't want to put him on blast, find wrong with this. It is just downright that I don't even know what his problem is with me. And look, I'm white. You can clearly see that I'm white. But having said that, I am still very aware of the struggles that black people do face, and they've made it very clear that they don't approve of what he had posted on Facebook. And for him to say that to me, like, that, my friends, is punching down. That's all I'm going to say. I wish I could speak more, but I'll yield the rest of my time.
That was our final speaker.
We are adjourned at 8:44.